Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Brighton podcast. It's your boy, Jamie G, and I'm joined by Blessings Chibamba. Bless, what a weekend we have had as Brighton fans. How are you feeling?
All I can say is soak it in. Absolutely soak it in. Take a moment to soak in what the boys have done. Like, let's deep the magnitude of this win. Like, we are talking about Manchester City, the citizens, the boys in blue, the money man, the Centurions, the treble winners, the Mr. 4 in a row, humbled by the Seagulls. Love to see it, mate. And I'm here for it.
Yeah, stay humble, Haaland, lad. You know, I'm not an Arsenal fan, I'm an Arsenal hater. But after that comment, he has been absolutely humiliated. 4 losses in a row. Man City are scarred by the South Coast. Went to Bournemouth last week, got spanked. Came here, we got their hopes up a little bit, you know, gave them a bit of hope and false hope and optimism that they're actually going to take some points away. But no. The boys have come back from a 1-0 loss against Man City to win 2-1. God, the scenes at the stadium when Matt O'Reilly scored that winner. What a moment.
Yeah, what a moment, what a day. And I think it's one of those things where we got to reevaluate our season now. Look, what does it look like now? It's changed.
Oh, it has changed indeed, mate. We're sitting... I'm gonna actually... I know we shouldn't do this because we're actually sitting in 6th, but we're sitting in 3rd, really, because we're joint on 19 points with about 4 other teams. Which the Seagulls are flying so high that they're actually going to be in the Champions League. That it's a genuine chance that we're in the Champions League next season. Right, I'm calling it here first. Am I crazy?
Do you know what? For today, I'm actually just going to jump on and be on your side. So I'm going to put logical blessings away for a little bit and just be like, yeah, we're in it. We could even win the league.
Yeah, join delusional little Jamie with thinking we're actually going to win the league. And minimum, get Champions League places. But yeah, what a performance. 2-1 Brighton against Man City. A comeback for the ages. We questioned last week, Bless, you know, are Brighton bottle jobs? Why can't we see out games? Well, we don't need to see out games when we come back from games, you know? We've done it against Tottenham, and now we've done it against City. We are challenging the Big Six. We're putting it to them, and we love comebacks, this team.
Yeah, like if you analyse the performance overall, again, last week what I wanted to see is us building from that Liverpool first half, and I think we did that really well. Defended really well, had to suffer at times, but you know, I think Hertz has got the boys on his side, and they're willing to put their bodies on the line for the points. Remember that old saying from Neil Warnock: you got to be ready to die for 3 points.
Yeah,
something like that.
You gotta die for 3 points, and that is what the boys did. They are the comeback kings, and to prove that we are the comeback kings, we haven't dropped any points when conceding first so far this season. And that's it. That's what I feel like this is where the youth probably does help a little bit as well, because they will just go for it. And that's so hurtful as well. That's one thing I've learned from this manager that no one knew about, and we've all learned about from this manager that no one knew about before the season. We know that he and his team will always put up a fight, will always go the extra mile to try and win the games, and the youth kind of plays into that. They're not scared of taking it to the teams, and Hertz said that after the game. It's about challenging the establishment of the big teams and putting it to them, and this was the perfect example of that.
Yeah, and I love that statement, challenging the establishment, and I think he's instilled a never die attitude, and they're always in the game. That's one thing I'm really impressed with, is that they're always in the game. They might be one down, but they're doing better, you know, not conceding that second goal and letting teams kill them off, but just hanging on and being in the game. And even when we saw them miss a few chances, particularly at the end of that first half, sometimes you might think, oh, they might not get another good chance like that. But, the boys kept on going, and eventually it came.
Yeah. You say that big chance towards the end of the first half. It is kind of that's a moment where you could think let the heads drop, but they went into the changing room. They went, "Oh, we've created a great chance. Now let's build on that." And what do you think they did differently, and what inspired the comeback in the second half? What do you feel?
I think in the first half it was really difficult for the two centre midfielders in there. I think they were just genuinely at times outnumbered, and sometimes just playing against better players. Simple as that. They're two young lads and they're still developing, so it's not really on them. Whereas in the second half, I felt Belieber coming on made a massive, massive impact. Just that ability to get past the player and be strong in the tackle. I think it really made City think twice about getting too close to him, because he can easily just roll a player and take them out of the game. So that him coming on, I think from there, City began to respect Brighton a little bit more. And then from there, we can see a bit more combinations and passes further afield.
Yeah, he completely transformed the game for me. And Match of the Day even did a personal segment on him. That was how good he was and how much of a difference maker he was. But yeah, like you say, the way he just took it to them, like he's completely different to Yasin Ayari and Hinchwood as well, in terms of he is such a big, powerful guy that when he ran at them, they couldn't stop him. They couldn't get near him to body him off the ball. He shrugged them off. The passing also was there. He was always looking for a forward pass, whether it was crossfield, whether it was between the lines, whether it was in behind at times. And he was way more adventurous in the passing. And it was also the breaking up of the play. He was just constantly around the City players, hounding them, like we've seen on so many occasions this season. And I think the other player that was a standout, and it's the Magic Man. He's back. It's João Pedro. Wow. When he came on, goal and an assist in about 25 minutes of play against Man City. He transformed us going forward big time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Root is, filled in so well, and I can't really knock him, but I think going forwards, we want to see João Pedro back in that side. And I think when he came on, again, he was occupying that space. He used to be in when he was fit in that left half space, and they just could not handle him. He was confident, and I think once he came on, I felt like Matoma, was a little bit more lively as well. I'd say once he came on, just because there's now two danger men to sort of worry about in that area. So it gave Matoma a bit of space, and of course the goal as well, which I'll leave you to dissect.
Yeah. That'll be the next segment. But yeah, the key word there that I think you mentioned was he looked confident. Like he hadn't missed a step at all. And when he plays with confidence, he is just different level. Like he could easily get into any Big Six side, in my opinion. Well, maybe any Big Six side, maybe.
I said to Joe, we were watching the game. I said to Joe that I think if Man City continue the way they are, I reckon January there'll be a possible chance they could sniff around players like João Pedro, because he's proven he's versatile and playing different roles in going forwards. He's playing in the Premier League, so they won't have to worry about that adjustment period.
Yeah.
So I think he could be a player that people will already start looking at alongside Belieber as well.
Yeah, especially if they, like Man City, they can't afford to keep having De Bruyne out for the first half of the season every single season. So yeah, that is the threat, and that's the problem with having such good performances like this, where it just shows how good our players are. And João Pedro is just one of them that could easily be snapped up. But yeah, Bless, you mentioned it just a minute ago that after the break, we are going to be talking about and dissecting the goals and how they came about. So stick around to listen to us talk about that.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform, and Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Brighton podcast. We are reviewing the 2-1 victory against Man City, and one of the star players I thought from yesterday's performance was that man, Kaoru Mitoma. I thought he absolutely cooked every time he was one-on-one against Kyle Walker. And that is kind of where the first goal came from. I feel like there was clearly a plan to feed Mitoma as much as possible. And yeah, exactly where the goal came from. He took the ball from a long ball. He crossed it in first time. It got cut out, bounced back to him, which is quite lucky. But then first time, the awareness to see that Danny Welbeck is standing in the box, kind of free, to play it straight to him, and Welbeck scuffing the first shot, but it being an absolute scramble in the box. And João Pedro, that guy, was on the right place, right time, is the saying, and that's exactly what João Pedro was.
Yeah, no, it was good to see Mitoma involved in that one because I was speaking to Joe recently. We were talking about sort of output of our wingers, and we are saying Mitoma's brilliant, but the output in terms of assists and goals this season hasn't quite been there. But then my thinking behind it is that when he does get it, he is a constant threat, and I think players are drawn to him, and that creates so much space around the inside channel for players like João Pedro to sort of fill in and pick up the ball in there, and that's exactly what we saw. He's whipped it in, and there was a little bit of space to go and find Welbeck, and yeah, the scramble into a scruffy goal, one of my favourite goals. I love a goal like
that. Just an absolute mess, but yeah, you say Mitoma hasn't had the output, and that's just another example. That goal, he wouldn't be credited with the assist, and he hasn't been credited with the assist, but he's the one that's created that chance to put it to Welbeck, and if Welbeck finishes first time, then it appears on stat sheet. But where it doesn't do that, and where it is that scramble, Mitoma's created the chance basically out of nothing, and through being completely direct and running at Walker. But yeah, it's just another thing that doesn't pop up on the stat sheet, so that's where, if you aren't watching Brighton on a regular basis, you might think, oh, Mitoma's dropped off. He's not got the goals and the assists that we've come to know him for. But he's been like that all season, like that much of a threat. And you could tell by the way Ruta played it out to him that they are always looking to play it out to these players. And that goal was coming as well, because we had so many good chances just probably about 10 minutes before the goal went in like the 65th to like the 70th minute. I think we had several good chances, and they came from Mitoma being played through by Belieber and Edison rushing out. Then there was another chance where just long ball from Van Hecker onto João Pedro, where he takes a brilliant first touch, but then he needs to go with his left foot, but the right foot puts it wide. Yeah, what did you make of the second half performance, I guess, as a whole, and the chances that we were able to create, Bless?
Yeah, I thought it was a much better performance than the first half. Again, I think it's credited to the fact that now there's a midfielder in the Brighton side who can break lines because he's powerful, he's strong, and it's not as easy to shrug him off. And that made Man City sort of think twice about how high they're going to play and how aggressive they're going to try and be on Belieber. And then from there, yeah, we kept on getting chances. I did get, after that João Pedro sort of chance, I did get a bit worried. I thought, that could be the best chance of the game.
Yeah.
And if that's not in the back of the net, we're not going to get another one, kind of thing, because you're playing against Man City. But yeah, tenacious is what I can say. And I think honourable shout out to Jack Hinchelwood again, a divisive figure in this podcast, but he's in great form, I think, and he epitomises what the team actually is. He works so hard. And yeah, from there we saw a few more chances and a wonderful, wonderful goal from João Pedro.
Yeah. You mentioned Jack Hinchelwood there, and I think it was in the 51st minute where he had a chance as well, where he could have buried it. All coming from Van Hecker breaking the lines, playing playing it in behind the City midfield and breaking that press, which he basically did all game. And then the ball being played out to Mitoma, who then plays the overlapping Estepinian. And what I liked most about Jack Hinchelwood's chance, and sure, he missed a fairly easy header, which he's somehow renowned for, actually always getting up and popping in those areas. But there were 4 men in the box. Like, there was clearly an emphasis of let's try and get this goal, and that was in the 51st minute. So it was straight after half time. They came out with all guns blazing, trying to get that equaliser and trying to get the eventual winner, which did come in the form of Matt O'Reilly's Premier League debut goal. I think that's the way you word it. But yeah, what a goal by Matt O'Reilly. Talk us through it, Bless.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who played it through and got the assist. But it's a wonderful run, and that's the sort of type of midfielder he is. He will get forward, break into the box. If I am correct, he scored quite a few goals at Celtic. He was that kind of midfielder. And yeah, it's a wonderful finish to stay composed against, a keeper with the credentials of Edison, and just rolling it past him like that is brilliant. And yeah, do you know what it is? I think it's just good to. It's good to it was just good to have him back, but then a goal as well is wonderful, and it's felt like a new signing, like we signed him like yesterday or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing with that.
Yeah, I love the fact that he scored it. Like, you could see, because he played that first game in the League Cup, got injured immediately through an absolute horror challenge, and you could see like the excitement to get off the board, but also for it to be the winner. I couldn't have asked for it to be anyone better, I guess, or anyone that I would have wanted to score more. He was like top of the list. And you asked who played it through. It was that guy João Pedro, finding the little pocket of space.
Yeah, of course.
Finding a little pocket of space between the defense and the midfield where no one kind of picked him up, which is what he is so good at. And it's the ability to take the pass, like take it dead, drop it dead to his feet, and then be able to like kind of weave, take another touch, and lift his head, find the pass. It just highlighted like everything João Pedro is so good at, and why he's so essential as that cam in terms of picking the ball up in those pockets of space, having the close control to keep it away from defenders, and then still be able to find the pass. And that goes on to our earlier point. There were 4 men in the box in the 51st minute, and Matt O'Reilly running beyond the striker to get into the box as well. I mean, this team just never let up, and that's what I love the most.
Yeah, and you gotta remember as well. So it's a double pivot of 2 number 6s, and if one goes and it goes wrong, there's only one left.
Yeah.
Quick maths.
Yeah.
So you are really taking the risk, and I love midfielders and players who are willing to take that risk. And there's no reward without a risk, and that's why we see Mitoma taking someone on with that. That's a risk in itself, and it's just good to see our players being brave.
Yeah, risk and reward. And after this break, we will be talking about the City goal, but how it came to no avail. So stick around. This podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news and views on your Premier League team, the Premier League, women's football, and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. Global Sports Podcast Network. Every club, every day. And we are back with a daily Brighton podcast. And now let's talk about... So we obviously did win 2-1. And it wasn't always looking like such a good performance, I have to say. I thought in the first half, we were pretty poor. And thank God in the second half we changed it. But yeah, bless, what went wrong in that first half? And I guess not what went wrong. Why did we set up how we did?
Yeah, I don't think the first half was that bad. I don't think it was terrible because if you look at the players we're up against,
Yeah.
like the Savino, he was flying down that left wing,
On
right
fire.
wing, sorry, and he was making it so difficult for Estepinian. In midfield, City they were ticking, they were knocking the ball around pretty well with obviously Rico Lewis as well joining the midfield. They were dominant in the midfield, and I think that made it difficult for Brighton to sort of play and advance the ball forwards at times because the two midfielders were locked in. But your second part of the question, why we went with that, I think it's a reward to the two midfielders for their performance at Liverpool, really, if you look at it, because they were outstanding at Anfield. I think it would have been a little bit harsh to change it.
Oh, yeah.
Although when I did look at this, I looked at it again and I had the same feeling I had for the Liverpool game. I was thinking, oh, that's a really lightweight midfield. And it's going to be hard to compete in there. But yeah, the substitutions were fantastic and they were timed very well as well, I thought.
Yeah, genius to sub. Like, he realised Yasnayari wasn't having his greatest game and subbed him off at halftime for someone that was going to basically impose himself and be a bit of a threat physically because Yasnayari, he's quite small. I think he's like about 5'9", 5'10". He's no like bulldozer Carlos Baliba, who's 6'3". But yeah, I do. Yeah, I completely get where you're coming from. I knew they would start because they did so well against Liverpool and they came out the gate so strong. My issue isn't with them starting like Ayari and Hinchelwood because I knew that was going to happen. My issue is if you're going to play them, I wanted to see them come out the gates like pressing exactly like we did with Liverpool, whereas I think how we played was giving City way too much respect, letting them have the ball too much, and we just didn't press at all. And this is one thing that me and Joe said on the crossover pod to the Man City guys. Man City have struggled like they did against Bournemouth last week, with teams coming at them and pressing them. The defence haven't looked comfortable on the ball. And when you're playing Simpson Puzzi, Kyle Walker, and Vardiol as your three centre-backs in the kind of system that they play, you need to put pressure on Simpson Puzzi, especially considering what happened midweek against Sporting. And also, Kyle Walker's not the greatest on the ball. You need to be like, I wanted to see full of energy, and then I would have been happy with them getting subbed off because it would have been like you say, a different look, a different outlook on the game, and more energy coming in for them to press in the second half. And that I thought that's how we changed it in the second half. We were way more aggressive. We pressed them way up the pitch, and we didn't give them that respect. We actually, once that chance happened in the first half, and I think it was a mentality switch where they thought, you know what, we actually can give these lot a game, and that's what we saw in the second half. That's what I just wanted to see in the first half.
I think I'll disagree with a little bit of that because I felt like it was part of the game plan. Because if you look at the Liverpool game, yes, it was wonderful to see them coming out the block so fast and pressing and being energetic and being on the front foot. It was great to see, but it only lasted for a half because the energy levels were depleted in the second half. Liverpool got back in the game. You know the rest. For this game, I felt like he approached it a little bit better and they actually pressed. They picked and choose the times to press, which was really good. And in that second half, there was still energy added on with the substitutions coming on to actually press on and, kill the game off with the second goal. So I thought The Liverpool game plan was good, but the energy levels let us down. And this game plan was much better, I thought.
Yeah, it was a complete role reversal compared to the Liverpool game, wasn't it? Like, we went out against Liverpool, all guns blazing, pressing high, and then, like you say, they did run out of energy, which is, I do agree with parts of what you're saying in terms of how about we sit back, defend what we've got, just try and not concede loads in the first half, or like just try and keep them to a 0-0, which didn't go to plan. They did go one up, and then maybe in the second half change it and then press them, come out. So yeah, I do get what you're saying, and I guess we'll talk about their goal because we probably have to. Uh, it was my guy Ayari. I've backed him a lot this season, but yeah, he didn't have his strongest game, I've got to say. He gave the ball away, trying to play like an ambitious pass in behind, which didn't come off because it got cut out by Kovacic, who, by the way, Kovacic was actually, in my opinion, their best player all game. He cut it out. Then Ayari too keen to win the ball. Like, if you're gonna play like a let's sit back, let's defend, he can't dive in, and Kovacic took it round him like he was a cone, basically. And then he plays it to that robot up front, Haaland, who then finishes it off.
Yeah, no, the way you've described that is painfully, painfully true.
Yeah,
But I thought it was a really good ball from Kovacic, to be fair, and I
yeah, it
felt
was. Yeah.
like it would be easy to point fingers at the centre backs, but I felt like they did all they could. What I was really impressed with, and it's a big honourable shout, and I'm sure we'll mention him again, but Van Heck, all the way up until the line, he's sort of battling with him. It's sort of bouncing, and he's sort of kicked his foot through as well, which is we love to see. And even throughout the game, I felt like he handled and matched Haaland's physicality on a lot of duels and one-on-ones, which is great to see. Well, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, I did make a note when I was watching it of saying, could the centre backs have been a bit closer? But I thought, like, the more you watch it, I think that's so harsh. Like, sure, they might be a bit closer together, but I think Haaland's just found the space, the minimal space in between them, and Kovacic has just played an unbelievable through ball straight to his feet. So yeah, I don't blame either defender. I think it's just the kind of goal that you expect to concede, especially when you are playing against Man City. Like, you're always going to concede, and if you nitpick every goal, then that's going to be harsh. But look, you did mention a key point that I did want to bring up. I thought Julio Igor as well, he was class, as well as Van Hecker. I thought they handled Haaland as well as I've seen any centre-back partnership really handle Haaland this season.
Yeah, I'm hearing Hugo Igor over Dunk. Where do you stand on this one?
I'm probably the first advocate of that. You know, I've not liked Dunk this season. Sorry, Dunk, but Julio Eagle has to start now. That was actually a good performance from him, and he's actually been good for the last couple of weeks.
I think I'll still go with Dunk because, let's not forget what Dunk's done. Let's not.
Can't live in the past. Live in the past.
It's been a few games where he is in good form, Eagle. He's in brilliant form. Long may it continue. But he has got a mistake in him. He has. You know he has.
And he's probably less good with the ball.
Yeah. Not as comfortable on the ball as Dunk. And I feel like he's got more of a mistake in him than Dunk. I know Dunk as well has a mistake in him. But yeah.
But do you know who's not weak on the ball? Is Van Hecker. And I know I said it earlier in terms of he's always looking to break the lines and play past the press and play into the midfielders. That's the thing I love. I just had to get this off because if you watched him yesterday, every time he has the ball at his feet, he's always looking forward, always looking to see, can I get it into the midfield? Can I bait someone into thinking I'm going to play it sideways, but then actually just drill it into whoever's in midfield? And that needs an actual shout out. So next time we watch Brighton play, and this is to all the listeners out there, watch Brighton and keep an eye on Van Hecker because he never looks sideways or passes backwards. Like, I think he's always looking in midfield, and that's one thing that impresses me every single time I watch him. And one thing so I think we can get on the same page on this is, sure, we might not agree on who should start, Dunk or Igor. One thing we can agree on is who should never start ever again, and that's Adam Webster. Just got to throw that shade into him just there.
How on earth is Adam Webster getting heat after a 2-1
Like,
2-1 victory against Man City and he didn't even play? How's he getting hate?
yeah, this is not a podcast. I've picked the wrong time. This shouldn't be a podcast to hate, you know. I'll keep Adam Webster out of this. But this is a podcast to celebrate an amazing victory against Man City. Historic victory against Man City. We've made it the first time since 2015 they lost 4 in a row, and we've potentially ruined their title chances. There we go.
True. Yeah, we've made a dent in the title charge.
Yeah, we've made it exciting. And on that note, we hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please drop us a share and a follow on all our social media platforms and keep staying tuned. Thank you very much, guys, and peace out.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.